Beginning. Today, we will not only talk about dark smells. Today, we embark on a deep exploration of how scents affect our souls, why people are drawn to these smells in the dark, and how some serial killers desire them because they can sense these odors. The true reason behind serial killers is not only psychological disorders, but also the influence of the devil. Edgar Allan Poe, who said, "Scents pollute the soul," was someone who could see the truth. Scents are not only a stimulus, but also a call from evil spirits. Some smells guide souls to dark cults and horrifying rituals. It is not only serial killers, but also Satanists and devil-worshipping cults that use the power of scents to connect with dark entities. Blood, burnt wood, sulfur, and certain herbal mixtures are frequently used in satanic rituals. These smells affect the subconscious, weaken the mind, and strengthen devotion to the devil. Dark cults light specific incense and aromas in their ceremonies to summon evil spirits, for scents are a powerful tool that affects not only the physical world but also the spiritual world. However, it must be remembered that there are also smells that the devil despises. Incense, especially sandalwood and myrrh, have been used since ancient times to ward off evil spirits. Lavender is the scent of purity and tranquility. The devil cannot tolerate this smell. Rose is considered a protective scent both in the spiritual and physical worlds. Vinegar is known in mystical teachings as a scent that repels evil. These smells cleanse the soul and scatter the darkness. Scent is not only a sensory experience, but also a spiritual battle. The dark scent search of serial killers. The smells that the devil loves have been the sole focus of many serial killers in the past. One of the most horrific serial killers of the 20th century, Ted Bundy, turned the death of his victims and the smell of blood into a ritual. According to him, these smells are a form of fulfillment, a quest for realization. He once said, "The smell of fear and pain penetrates the human soul. Blood, combined with the victim's fear, becomes a powerful force." So what is behind this smell? The scent of human blood triggers hormones like dopamine and adrenaline in the brain. These hormones create a sense of pleasure in the body, almost as if possessed by the devil, and this feeling takes precedence over everything else. The devil enters the scene through the influence of these hormones and activates his dark powers. With the smell of blood, cortisol release begins, and the sense of fear intensifies. At that very moment, the devil senses this fear and further darkens the soul. In other words, by smelling the blood of a victim, a serial killer is essentially serving the devil. Beyond the scent of blood, the smell of decaying corpses holds a special place in the dark world of killers. Some serial killers reward themselves with the deep obsession they feel towards the scent of the corpses of their victims. These smells are not just perceived as a murder, but also as a kind of spiritual satisfaction, a consequence. In particular, Richard Ramirez, the infamous The Night Stalker, who committed numerous murders, repeatedly spoke of his obsession with the decaying smell of his victims' bodies. He said, "The smell of the bodies brings a kind of peace. When you smell it, you feel that everything has come to an end. Evil is satisfied at some point." Ramirez's statement is a striking example of how the decaying smell of corpses feeds and rewards the dark desires within the killer. Similarly, John Wayne Gacy, after murdering his victims and hiding their bodies in his house's basement, confessed that he derived a sort of pleasure from the bodies starting to decay. He said, "The smell of the bodies satisfies you up to a point. The smell of death fills you with a kind of reward." Gacy's statement shows that the smell of decaying corpses reinforces the spiritual reward he felt from committing his murders. While most people approach the scent of decaying bodies with disgust, for serial killers, this smell becomes a part of the completion of the act of killing and the sensation of gaining power. Killers perceive these smells as a reward, providing psychological and emotional fulfillment. The scent of blood and corpses creates a deeper satisfaction within their inner darkness. The decaying smell of the bodies is considered almost like a consequence and victory. These smells become a point of satisfaction in the killer's spiritual world. The act of killing is completed, and the soul is somehow rewarded. All these examples show how the psychological rewards serial killers feel after committing murders are reinforced, especially through scents. The scent of blood and decaying corpses provides them not only with physical pleasure, but also a form of spiritual satisfaction. The horrific rituals and sense of cults. Cults and secret societies are structures found in the darkest pages of history. These groups aim to pollute the human soul with bloody rituals. The scent of human blood not only strengthens them spiritually, but also physically. Some of the most notorious cults in world history have incorporated their addiction to these scents into their rituals. Aleister Crowley, one of the most famous figures in Western occultism, once said, "Bloody sacrifices bring forth the deepest fears of mankind." Crowley believed that in rituals dedicated to serving the devil, blood was a gateway through which a path to the dark world could be opened. According to this belief, human blood is not just a bodily fluid, but also a matter of the soul. Blood, according to cult beliefs, functions as a key carrying a kind of spiritual energy. In the dark times of history, structures like the Spanish Inquisition believed that the scent of a victim's blood brought the devil's presence. Cults thought that with these scents, they were opening a door to the devil's world. The scent of blood not only gave them power, but also seemed to be a form of spiritual reward to be obtained by completing the rituals. In secret cults and occult ceremonies, the smell of blood was a turning point in the spiritual journey of participants. They would sign a kind of pact using the fear, pain, and blood of the victims. The foundation of these rituals was the belief that blood served as a means to establish a spiritual connection. The scent of blood came to participants both as a reward and a form of worship. Members of cults, in the numb state created by the smell of blood, were drawn further into the darkness. The scent of each victim's blood made them more addicted and filled their inner void a little more after each ritual. The smell of decaying bodies was also an inseparable part of these rituals. Cult members believed that by inhaling the scent of the bodies, they gained satanic power. These smells gave them a concrete impression of death and evil and pulled them further under the influence of the dark side. The smell of decaying bodies symbolized to the members that the ritual was complete. The victim's pain and death reinforced the cult's beliefs. Especially towards the end of the 19th century, some cults and occult groups used the scent of human blood to create a kind of trance state. In rituals known as bloody ceremonies, the scent of blood brought participants together, intending to guide them into a stronger, deeper spiritual experience. According to some studies, people who participated in these rituals felt that by internalizing the scent of blood, they experienced a kind of spiritual union and felt that satanic powers had passed on to them. According to the cult's beliefs, the scent of blood not only forms a physical but also a spiritual bond. In the bloody rituals of the cults, the scent of decaying bodies serves not only as a reward but also as a warning. These smells bring members closer to a dark power. Each inhalation envelopes them with more darkness and evil, ensuring the completion of the rituals. By distancing themselves from this world and sanctifying death and decay, cult members find their spiritual satisfaction in the decaying smells of the bodies. In conclusion, the bloody rituals of cults and the scent of decaying bodies become a phenomenon intertwined with the beliefs of these groups. The scent of blood offers them not only physical pleasure, but also a spiritual reward. These rituals fill the inner void of members of dark cults, drawing them on a deeper journey into darkness and bringing them one step closer to satanic power each time. The effect of human blood on the brain, the pineal gland, and the influx of darkness. Have you ever wondered how the scent of human blood affects our brain? The human brain, driven by survival instincts, experiences significant changes when exposed to such scents. Fear, as a dreadful threat, triggers movement in humans. The smell of human blood stimulates the amygdala region of the brain, which is responsible for detecting danger and generating fear responses. However, there is a strange aspect to this process. When the amygdala escalates the feeling of fear, it also releases pleasure-inducing hormones like dopamine and serotonin. Here, the complex structure of the brain kicks in, leading the person to experience a kind of addiction from the combination of fear and pleasure. However, the truly mysterious effect lies deep within our brain, in the pineal gland. The pineal gland, a tiny organ located at the center of the brain, is believed to house the deepest secrets of human consciousness. Known as the third eye, this gland functions as a spiritual gateway. One of its key functions is the production of melatonin, but according to some occult beliefs, the pineal gland also serves as a channel to transcend the mental and spiritual realms. It is thought that the pineal gland connects the unconscious mind with dark forces. Some believe that satanic rituals and dark ceremonies aim to stimulate this area to enter a deeper dimension. The smell of human blood has the potential to influence the pineal gland. While it stimulates the amygdala, the scent of blood also sends a signal to the pineal gland. This interaction deepens the brain's balance between fear and pleasure. The pineal gland, through the scent of blood, decodes a kind of spiritual key and triggers a transition in the spiritual dimension. This transition triggers a mysterious connection. The brain's chemical responses become more complex as the pineal gland activates. As fear and pleasure hormones are released, the pineal gland opens a gateway to a satanic dimension. At this precise moment, the dark forces of the devil, seeking to fill the spiritual void, come into play. In the horrific deeds of serial killers, this interaction leads to the influx of darkness. The fear response in the amygdala and the mysterious connection provided by the pineal gland activate the dark powers of the devil. The brain's complex structure creates a spiritual void, and this void becomes an invitation for the devil to enter. The pineal gland opens this void like a door, drawing the person into a deeper dark realm. Under the influence of fear and the scent of blood, the person falls into an unconscious void, and it is at this moment that the devil infiltrates. For a serial killer, this process holds great significance. The smell of blood does not only alter the brain's chemistry, it also stimulates the pineal gland, creating an unconscious transition. With each instance of fear and pleasure, the killer experiences this transition, subconsciously drawing closer to the devil's power. This process, where the smell of blood transforms into a trance-like state, becomes a turning point in the killer's spiritual evolution. As they oscillate between fear and pleasure, the dark influence of the devil leaves an imprint deep within the brain. The pineal gland registers these imprints like a marker, directing the killer further down a dark path. The mysterious role of the pineal gland is also central to the horrific rituals of cults. The scent of blood stimulates this region, initiating a spiritual journey. Cults consciously use these rituals to get closer to satanic powers. The smell of blood not only triggers a physical response, but also penetrates the brain's depths to establish an unconscious bond. The awakening of the pineal gland marks a change in the individual's spiritual evolution. After dark rituals, participants feel this transformation and delve deeper into the pursuit of satanic power. In conclusion, the effect of the smell of human blood on the brain is not merely a combination of fear, and pleasure. The pineal gland, as a mysterious channel, plays a crucial role in leading a person down a dark path. The interaction in the brain's complex structure allows a serial killer to internalize the dark power of the devil. Fear, the scent of blood, and the influence of the pineal gland come together to drag the person deeper into darkness and accelerate the devil's invasion. The sin of the devil, blood, darkness, and the fall of the soul. The sin of human blood is not just a biological stimulant, but also the beginning of a spiritual collapse. Blood is the harbinger of death and is known to be one of the devil's favorite smells. Dark cults and rituals use this scent to bring souls under the devil's dominion. Anton LaVey's statement, "A bloody sacrifice reveals every aspect of the human soul," points to a much deeper truth. Blood is not only a disruptor of the body's balance, but also a key that touches the deepest, darkest parts of the human spirit. When blood merges with fear and pain, its effect on the human soul becomes exponentially more intense. At this point, the power of the devil enters the scene. The devil feeds not only on belief, but also on blood and death. For centuries, various dark societies have argued that blood is not just a ritual object, but a vehicle that brings the devil's presence into the world. When blood is spilled, it facilitates the entry of the devil into the world. The sin of fear, mixing with the air, strengthens the devil's presence. And here, the true power of the devil is revealed, to enslave a human soul, to bind its fears and desires to his will. The sin of blood is, in fact, a dark summons. When this call is heard, the devil becomes more than a mere being. He becomes destruction, a void. The human being, gripped by fear, spirals deeper into an inescapable trap. However, the devil's presence in rituals is not confined to blood alone. Other bodily fluids also release satanic energies. Sexuality is one of the devil's greatest weapons. According to many occult teachings, when blood and sexual fluids combine, the human soul becomes most vulnerable. In some forbidden grimoires from medieval Europe, the following is written: "The devil not only takes the soul but also the body." And at that moment, the human sees the world through the devil's eyes as the fusion of blood and lust takes over. This combination causes a terrifying transformation, drawing out the darkest aspects of a person's soul. The devil is concerned not only with blood, but also with the most taboo smells of humanity. Feces, one of humanity's greatest taboos, is seen in some cults as a symbol of purification and surrender. When a person combines feces and blood, they cleanse themselves of earthly and spiritual boundaries, fully surrendering to the devil. An occultist from 18th century France wrote, "At first, it was revolting, but the devil's touch can change a person's most primal instincts. I am now in his service." This is not just surrender, but a transformation. The spiritual collapse is completed when a person feels the devil's power even in their darkest corners. Modern neuroscience has revealed how brain chemistry changes in response to blood and fear. The amygdala, the brain region responsible for processing fear, is directly impacted by the sin of blood. Meanwhile, the pineal gland also comes into play. In ancient mystical teachings, the pineal gland was regarded as the center of the soul. During dark rituals, the chemicals released by the pineal gland change, leading the individual into a trance-like state. This causes the individual to feel disconnected from reality and more susceptible to external influences. This is when the devil's power manifests. The human soul and body are now fed only by fear and blood. Every wave of fear deepens the devil's influence. With the sin of blood, the mind becomes clouded and reality becomes increasingly distant. Confessions from those who have participated in such rituals reveal that the effect of the devil is not only spiritual but also physical. In 1973, a member of a secret cult stated during police questioning, At first, it felt like just a game. But when I smelled the blood, I began to change. I could no longer live without that scent. Then everything progressed according to the devil's will. I became something other than myself. These words expose how the devil gains profound control over a person and detaches them from their own will. The scent of blood is such a powerful weapon that it can draw a person down a dark path. And once this path is entered, there is no turning back. The devil will seize the soul and never let it go. The devil is not only a being but also an agent of transformation. Blood, sexuality, and the darkest aspects of the body are the core elements in the devil's rituals. Over time, individuals participating in these rituals begin to feel unsatisfied without blood. Sex and blood merge in the brain's reward system, making ordinary pleasures meaningless. This is why some cult leaders have reached their peak only through the sin of blood. The devil's power is manifested not just in the physical world, but also at the level of consciousness. He feeds on fear, grows stronger with the sin of pain, and dominates human beings by stoking their primal desires. And once this path is entered, there is no option but to embrace the darkness fully. One day, we will see how those who participate in these dark rituals become addicted to the horrific sin of blood and fear, how they transform into mere shadows of themselves. For the devil, in the moments when he believes he is strongest, will leave his mark on every step he takes. This is only the beginning. The scents the devil shuns, in contrast to darkness. The scents that the devil dislikes and avoids symbolize the purity of nature and the human spirit. While dark entities thrive on negativity, such as corruption, decay, and hatred, the pure and refined scents of nature weaken the presence of satanic beings. According to occult teachings, certain scents, particularly those from specific plants and incense, are believed to carry a protective power that blocks the devil's influence. Lavender. In occultism, lavender symbolizes spiritual purification and purity. An environment filled with the scent of lavender creates a spiritually cleansed space. The devil finds this scent unsettling because lavender soothes the mind and promotes spiritual balance. It blocks fear and dark energies, making it more difficult for the devil to manifest. Lavender also enhances the function of the pineal gland, increasing spiritual awareness. Many ancient occult texts mention how scents like lavender were used to drive away malevolent spirits. Frankincense. Pine resin frankincense has been used in rituals since ancient times and is considered a sacred smoke. In occult teachings, this incense is used to neutralize the devil's energy. The smoke of frankincense repels dark entities and ensures spiritual cleansing. The devil flees from this scent because frankincense carries a powerful protective energy, cleansing the subconscious mind of dark thoughts and negative emotions. Additionally, this scent activates the pineal gland, helping the individual reach a higher state of consciousness. Sandalwood. Sandalwood is associated with spiritual awakening and mystical teachings. The scent of sandalwood places the person into a meditative state and promotes spiritual balance, which in turn prevents the devil's presence. The devil finds the scent of sandalwood bothersome because it enhances a person's inner purity and spiritual peace, leaving no room for dark energies. The energy of sandalwood cleanses the person and eradicates the devil's presence. Mint and thyme. Mint and thyme are known for their powerful cleansing effects. Their scents are used to banish evil spirits and clear the mind. The scent of mint helps individuals find inner peace, while thyme repels negative energies and purifies the space. The devil finds these scents disturbing because they create spiritual purity and weaken the power of dark entities. Jasmine. Jasmine is particularly associated with love and inner peace. In occult rituals, jasmine is considered an element that provides spiritual protection in its purest form and drives away negative energies. The scent of jasmine blocks the influence of dark entities and enhances the purity and strength of the human spirit. The devil dislikes this scent because jasmine promotes spiritual enlightenment and keeps the person away from dark energies. Laurel. Laurel has been used for protection and purification since ancient Egypt. The scent of laurel is considered a powerful shield against the devil's influence. Laurel helps protect against harmful energies and prevents evil spirits from surrounding a person. In mystical teachings, the scent of laurel is used to create a space where the devil cannot manifest. The devil must flee from the purifying scents of nature because these scents create a spiritually clean space and block the energies of dark entities. While dark energies thrive on corruption and pollution, these pure aromas eliminate the devil's presence and cleanse the human spirit. These scents, which the devil dislikes, are powerful tools used to break his influence in the spiritual realm. The scent of a newly washed body and the devil's retreat. The scent of a freshly washed human body symbolizes cleanliness and purification. This cleansing process is not just a physical act, but also a spiritual healing journey. As dirt and negative energies are removed from the body, a fresh start is made. However, this freshness is something that the devil finds troubling. When the scent of a human body is naturally clean and purified, it creates a space that is dangerous for the devil's presence. Purification and cleansing not only physically cleanse the body, but also establish a spiritual defense mechanism. The scent of a clean body, particularly after washing with soap and water, directly contradicts the devil's influence. Water and soap represent nature's purifying power, and every moment when a fresh scent emanates from the body, it creates a threat to the devil. A cleansed body signals that an individual has found inner purity and balance, making it impossible for the devil to manifest in such an environment. Additionally, the fresh scent released by the clean body helps balance brain chemistry, strengthening the spiritual defense system. Cleansing, both physically and spiritually, creates a purification that the devil attempts to disrupt. Dark entities never favor purity, naturalness, and cleanliness in humans. The scent of a freshly washed body creates a space that contrasts with the devil's presence, weakening his influence. The devil thrives in the realm of corruption and decay, and the purifying scents of nature act as a barrier, safeguarding against the devil's power. Thus, the scent of a newly washed body is a direct contradiction to the devil's existence, making it a significant force against dark forces. Conclusion: purity, cleansing, and the devil's retreat. The devil, as the ruler of dark entities and corrupted souls, always feeds on impurity and negative energies. His most powerful weapons are emotions like fear, hatred, anger, and decay. However, the pure and cleansing scents of nature offer a powerful way to break his influence. These scents symbolize not only physical but also spiritual purification, blocking the effects of dark entities. Scents like lavender, frankincense, and sandalwood, representing the purity of nature, not only fill a space with pleasant fragrances but also help protect us from negative energies. The devil is disturbed by these scents because they symbolize spiritual balance and peace. They create a spiritually cleansed area, making it impossible for dark energies to manifest. Dark entities cannot feed on the pure energy of a human spirit. In an area filled with fresh and pure scents, they cannot exist. These scents purify the soul while minimizing the impact of dark entities. However, in the dark world, there are also scents that the devil favors. The smell of blood, flesh, burning meat, and death are aromas that strengthen the devil's power and amplify the dominance of dark entities. Notably, serial killers, satanic cults, and dark groups throughout history have used rituals that trigger these sins to increase the devil's influence. The Zodiac Killer, Jack the Ripper, and other infamous murderers found that the sin of human blood did not only symbolize spiritual decay, but also acted as a tool to amplify the devil's presence. The smell of blood has been scientifically proven to trigger certain hormones in the brain, especially those related to fear, stress, and adrenaline. Adrenaline, cortisol, and dopamine feed the devil's dark energies. When humans smell these scents, they create more fear and stress, which attracts dark entities. Dark and deviant cults often try to create environments filled with these scents to feed their influence. These smells not only disrupt the human soul, but also invite the presence of the devil. Furthermore, the smell of burned flesh, ash, and death is another tool used in occult rituals to attract dark entities. Satanic cults and practitioners of black magic place great importance on the scents created by murders, sacrifices, and especially bloody rituals. These aromas feed the devil's energy and allow dark entities to have a stronger impact. On the other hand, a newly washed human body acts as a spiritual defense, thanks to nature's purifying scents. Cleansing creates not only a physical but also a spiritual purification. Scents that symbolize spiritual cleansing and the fresh scent of a clean body help balance brain chemistry. This balance eliminates the devil's influence and strengthens the individual's spiritual defenses. The devil fears the inner purity, naturalness, and cleanliness of humans. This is a situation in which his presence weakens and his power diminishes. In conclusion, the scents the devil avoids are not just symbolic. They are powerful tools that weaken and repel satanic entities. Purity, cleansing, and inner balance are the devil's greatest fears because dark energies can only feed on corrupted souls and tainted physical beings. The presence of pure scents and clean bodies prevents the dominance of dark forces. Therefore, scents like lavender, frankincense, sandalwood, and others act as spiritual shields. Similarly, the scent of a freshly washed body creates a spiritual barrier against the devil's attempts to dominate. One of the most powerful tools to eliminate the devil's presence is the power of spiritual cleansing, which is made possible through the purest sense of nature. Dark entities never reconcile with purity. However, through these scents and pure energies, we build a strong defense wall against the darkness. Therefore, to enter a purification process and protect oneself from the devil's influence, one should always use the pure scents of nature, because every clean breath brings us one step closer to driving the devil away.